What's up, everybody? We're back. It's Monday. We got a big NBA slate tonight. 11 games. It's going to be a lot of news, hopefully, to keep an eye on. It's for an 11-game slate. It's kind of a quiet news day, but we'll be keeping an eye on stuff over the next hour or so. We'll be live probably till about 7 o'clock Eastern time. So, over the next 55 minutes. If you guys have any questions for tonight's slate, you can throw those in chat. We're going to go through, answer questions. We'll probably build out a slip as well on stream. Probably at least one slip, maybe two. We'll see. Preferably going to try and stick to NBA. I know there is a Monday Night Football game tonight. If you do have Monday Night Football questions, you can throw those in chat, but I would rather it kind of be NBA specific because that's what I've spent most of the day looking at. But yeah, we'll answer all the questions you guys have, and we'll try and win some money tonight. But I hope you guys had a good weekend, man. I will say for this week with streams, I should have a live stream tomorrow, but on New Year's Eve, Wednesday, probably no stream. On New Year's Day, Thursday, probably no stream. And then I think I'll be live on Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Friday of this week, be on the lookout for streams. And typically, it'll be like an hour before the game start. So game start at 7 o'clock. Usually I'll be live at 6 o'clock. So, but what's up, guys? Good to see everybody in the chat. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Let's see if we can start off the Monday with some wins. What's up, user 0001? Let's get this money, Noah. I need some bread. Let's get it, man. Let's see if we can find some winners today. Long-time listener, first-time caller. What's up, Miles? Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Let's get these W's today. Let's get it. Let's get it. Cam Thomas points are looking interesting. I'd be a little cautious on Cam Thomas. So I'm sure if you look at Cam Thomas's last 5 games, you see a lot of green, but be careful here. So these games were at the beginning of the season when he was playing full minutes, and then last game he did return from injury. He nuked. He had 30 points, but he only played 20 minutes last game. He came off the bench and only played 20 minutes. I'm guessing he's going to come off the bench again. Maybe he plays like 22, 24 minutes. You can't expect him to put up 30 points in 20 minutes again. Now, we know Cam Thomas, he's a shot chucker. When he's out there, he's going to shoot the ball. But he's on a very strict minutes limit right now. So just be a little careful there. Not saying he can't go over. But I wouldn't be looking at his recent games because those really don't mean anything. What's up, guys? It's Noah. What's up, Wasabi? What's up, my man? RA for DiVincenzo, 8.5, not bad. I haven't looked at really many Dante DiVincenzo props. It's always tough when the Timberwolves are fully healthy, but they do run a very tight rotation. They play their guys big minutes. I know DiVincenzo, he's had some games lately without Anthony Edwards, which has definitely helped him, but he's typically been a good rebounding guard in his career. Assist-wise, he's usually good for a couple of assists. The Bulls play fast, so that sets up well for rebound and assist upside. I don't hate that play. I think it's okay. But it's always tough with Timberwolves when they're fully healthy. Which is, that's the case right now. Got any college picks tonight? I don't, Michael. If you're talking about college football for the bowl games, I really haven't even been looking at college football lately. I will do college football plays for the playoffs, which start New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But outside of that, I really haven't been doing any college football for the bowl games. Just, right now with NBA in full swing, NFL still going on, it's just hard to really take a ton of time to look at college football. But for the playoffs, which again are on Wednesday and Thursday, I will definitely have stuff up for the playoffs. KD without Şengün is looking good for points or PRA. Yeah, I like that. And let's go ahead and talk about that. So there's a play. I'm gonna give out a couple plays that I like for tonight that I haven't shared anywhere else. And one of them is Kevin Durant's over fantasy score. So this line was 41.5 earlier today. And then Alperen Şengün got ruled out and the line didn't move. Now, they could have been setting the line assuming Şengün was out, but I was surprised to not see the line bump. And I really like this play. Kevin Durant more than 41.5 fantasy, and JP kind of mentioned it. Without Şengün, Kevin Durant's been really good this year. So I went ahead and pulled up. He's only played 3 games without Şengün this season, but in those 3 games, 48.8 fantasy points, 31.7, 42.3. 28 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Against Dallas, he only had 31.7 fantasy, but he had 27 points. He only had 1 rebound, he only had 3 assists, he had no steals, no blocks, and I think he had a couple turnovers too. So just like a bad fantasy game. And then against Cleveland, in only 29 minutes, 30 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. I think all these games were blowouts too. I think that game against the Cavs was a blowout. Like he didn't play like full minutes in any of these games. Like 32, 31, 29. Typically KD's at like 34, 35 minutes. Now, tonight they're playing the Pacers. They're favored by 14.5, so this game could be a blowout. Hopefully it's not. But Kevin Durant's been really productive without Şengün this season. I like the matchup too. His if you look at like his fantasy points per minute, so let's take a look at this. So this season, Kevin Durant is averaging, in terms of fantasy points per minute, 1.04. But if you look at the minutes he's played without Şengün, he's at 1.21. So that's a big bump, going from 1.04 to 1.21. I think Kevin Durant, if this game's competitive, he's playing like 34, 35 minutes. He's been very productive without Şengün this year. I like this play. So that's going to be a play we stick with for tonight. Oh, damn, my Prizepicks is messing up. But that's a play I like for tonight, and then we're going to give out 2 more plays. We're going to do a 3-pick. But since somebody asked a question about Kevin Durant, I figured I'd go ahead and give that play out, since that was one that I was already liking. And then we'll talk about the other plays I like. But I'll answer some more questions before we do that. So, JP, I like a lot of KD props, for sure. And I mean, if you just look at his PRA is 38.5. It's very rare to see a PRA in a fantasy line only be 3-point difference. And Kevin Durant, he can get steals and blocks. He typically doesn't turn the ball over too much. If he gets over 38.5 PRA, he's very likely to also get over 41.5 fantasy. I mean, you look at his recent games, 42 PRA, green, green, red, green, or green, green, red, red, green. And if you look at his fantasy, green, green, red, green, red, or green. So this game, he had 38 PRA, but he had 49 fantasy. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like fantasy there on KD. Appreciate you, man. Hey, fresh job. Appreciate you. Appreciate you tuning in. CJ McCollum assist. Thank me later. Dude, I always get worried with like Wizards players because the team is just so bad. They get blown out a lot. It's also a back-to-back for the Wizards, which has me concerned. McCollum's been getting assists. He's typically a guy that can get assists. I will say that Chris Middleton is out tonight, which theoretically should help CJ McCollum for assists because Middleton's a decent ball handler. So taking out Middleton should allow McCollum to get more assists, or just have the ball in his hands more. Phoenix is a okay matchup, I think. Like, I don't hate that play, but dude, I just always betting on Wizards players, I feel like it never works for me. Anytime I take an over on a Wizards player, they get blown out or just some stupid shit happens. But the Wizards are a little bit more thin tonight. Keyshawn George and Chris Middleton are out, which for assist-wise for CJ, that should be a boost. Finally got to make it to a live. Christopher, appreciate you tuning in, my man. Loving the Anthony Black over 1.5 threes. Kevin Durant over RA. Yeah, Anthony Black's been playing incredibly well. He's been like one of the most improved players this year, I think. He's been great. I want to say, like, he's been going over a lot of his props because it's really hard for the books to project him. Like, he's typically not a player that has lines this high, but he just keeps crushing every night. So if you want to just ride the hot streak on Anthony Black, I mean, go ahead. Siakam, 5.5 rebounds. It's a really bad rebounding matchup for Siakam. Houston's like one of the best rebounding teams. I will say without Şengün, maybe they get worse on the boards, but probably not because, you know, Steven Adams is a great rebounder. So with Steven Adams out there, I mean, he's going to gobble up a lot of the boards. I know Siakam's been getting boards lately, but this is like one of the worst possible matchups for rebounds. So I'll just be a little cautious with that. I don't hate the play, but I'll just be a little cautious. That's what I'll say. They want to show him to trade him, talking about Cam Thomas. I mean, that's a possibility, but I will say, you know, he still only played 20 minutes last game. So he's on a minutes restriction, like pretty strict. I mean, they're not going to play him more than probably 25 minutes, if that. He's probably going to be in the low 20s. Let's fucking go, Noah. Been following you for a long time. Love your live streams. Hey, Fu Johnson, appreciate you, man. Thanks for following and, you know, thanks for tuning into the streams. And again, if you guys have any questions for tonight, you know, prop related, life related, doesn't matter. Just throw them in chat and we'll answer them. MPJ for assist, always. Yeah, MPJ, he's like never been an assist guy, but this year he's actually been getting assists. It's kind of crazy. He's just a completely different role this season. What's he been doing for assists lately? I mean, yeah, 4, 5, 3, 5. Like, MPJ would, last year on the Nuggets, I mean, he'd have like 0 assists. Maybe 1, maybe 2. But, like, he's been facilitating more this year. I mean, it's just, he's got the ball in his hands more. Usage is way up. It's not surprising. Thinking about doing this betting YouTube thing full-time in a year or so. Any pointers or advice, Noah? For one thing, you need to be making money. If you're going to do this full-time, like, you should be making money. So if you're not making money, don't do it full-time. If you have a good paying job, I wouldn't quit your job to do this. I got lucky. I started doing this when I was a teenager, and I was able to grow and build my following and make it my full-time job. So I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice there, because I've been doing this. This has been my full-time job since I started doing it. What's up, Steph Curry PRA? I'm a little bit worried about some of these Warriors guys. It's a back-to-back for the Warriors. Steve Kerr can do weird shit on back-to-backs. Like, he can play limited minutes. He can run a really deep rotation. The Nets also have been really good defensively as of late. Like, the Nets' defense is typically pretty bad, but they've actually been very good lately. I don't love the spot for Curry. I don't love the back-to-back either. I'm kind of out on Warriors guys tonight. Like, nothing looks great on the Warriors to me. But if you want to roll with that PRA prop on Curry, you can do it. Gobert rebounds. It's a great rebounding spot for Gobert for sure. I know his lines were like really high. What's his? Yeah, 11.5. He's been crushing on the boards lately, and this is a great rebounding matchup. Like, the Bulls are one of the worst rebounding teams. I'm sure if you looked at like Gobert's history against the Bulls, he's probably been pretty good. Let's see. Just look at, like, last few games. I mean, yeah, 15 rebounds, 9, but then 10, 16, 19, 20, 19, 13. Yeah, like, he's crushed on the glass in this matchup. I don't hate the play. It's always tough, like, when it's a rebounds line that high. I'm always a little skeptical, but we know Gobert's historically been a great rebounder, and this is, like, one of the best rebounding matchups. So, yeah, I think that's okay, actually. Any Hawks you like with Jalen Johnson, Trey, and Porzingis out? Yes, there is. So let's go ahead and talk about my next play. You guys you're feeding me. So let's talk about the next play I like for today. It's going to be a weird one, but Asia Newell. I was looking at some of his prop lines. I was just kind of waiting to see if we would get lines on some of these other Hawks guys. And we finally got some lines on other players besides, like, you know, Nikhil and Okongwu. Asia Newell. I'm expecting Asia Newell to play more here. He might. wind up starting because, like Michael said, Trae Young's out. He got ruled out earlier today. We know Jalen Johnson's out. He got ruled out yesterday. And they don't have Porzingis either. So you're basically taking out 3 starters. Obviously, we know Okongwu's going to start for Porzingis. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is most likely going to start for Trae. But then who winds up starting for Jalen Johnson? I don't know. It could be Asia Newell. It could be Mohamed Gay. It could be Vic Krejci. I doubt it. It's probably going to be Newell or Mo Gay. Even if Newell comes off the bench, he should play more here because this is a spot where the Hawks, they're going to lose this game. I mean, they're 17.5-point underdogs. They're probably going to get blown out. But here's the thing with Newell, he'll play garbage time. So if it's if the Hawks are down 30 going into the fourth quarter, that's perfect because that's when Newell's going to be out there playing with a lot of the scrubs and he can just put up a bunch of shots. And if you look at his game log this year, he hasn't played a lot. He's kind of been like an end-of-the-bench guy. But when he's gotten an opportunity, he's been productive. He played 27 minutes against the Lakers, had 17 and 5. He played 25 minutes against OKC. I think that was a blowout. I'm not sure. But he played 25 minutes against OKC, had 12, 10, and 1. 21 minutes against the Bulls, 13 and 7. Played 17 minutes against the Knicks, had 12 and 2. 17 minutes against the Pistons, had 10, 3, and 1. He's been a pretty good per-minute player. And tonight, he should play probably 24, 25 minutes. He could play more. If the game's ugly and it's a blowout, he should play in a blowout. So I really like some Asia Newell props here. It's obviously tough to project a player like this who hasn't really played a lot this season. But this is a spot where he should play more than he has all season. He's going to get garbage time if it's a blowout. He's a productive player when he gets minutes. He just really hasn't been able to play this year, but this is a spot where the minutes should be there. So I like Asia Newell over 15.5 PRA. I think you could look at over 9.5 points as well. I don't hate that one, but Newell's shown an ability to rebound. He could maybe get an assist or two. So yeah, I think I like PRA the most there. But I'm a big fan of Asia Newell tonight. I think he's a guy that is going to be in line for more minutes, and I think he's definitely being under-projected by the books here. It's just hard to project a player like him who, again, hasn't really played much this season. But when he's been on the court, he's been productive. And you take Trae out, you take Jalen Johnson out, you take Porzingis out, there's just so much usage. Somebody's going to have to shoot the ball. And I think Newell is one of those guys that will benefit. So that's the second play I like, and then I got one more play that we're going to throw in with this. We'll just go ahead and give this third play out, and then we'll answer the rest of the questions. So the last play that I like for tonight is another fantasy score. We're going to go to the Cavs game, and I like Jalen Tyson. So this line was at 18.5. It got bumped up to 19. That's kind of annoying, but I still like it at 19. So Jalen Tyson this year, he's gone kind of from being in the starting lineup to off the bench to in the starting lineup to off the bench. Lately, he's been coming off the bench. I think we might see him back in the starting lineup tonight. His minutes have been trending up regardless. Last game, he got up to 29.5 minutes. The game before that, 20 minutes, 24 minutes. He's consistently been getting low to mid-20s minutes. When he was starting, he was playing 30s, 30-plus minutes. Let's just look at his game log this year when he was starting. So let's see, as a starter. So the last few games he has started, 34 minutes, 34, 31, 33, 33, 34, 31, 32. The minutes were trending down on on Tyson. And then they wound up, his minutes were trending down. They wound up bringing him off the bench. But now it seems like the arrows are pointing back up for Jalen Tyson. And I think this is a good time to kind of buy low before the books adjust his lines. He's been playing incredibly well. He's a guy that can be productive when he gets minutes. He scores, he rebounds, he gets assists, he does a little bit of everything. He might start here, maybe. Even if he doesn't start, I think he's playing 24, 25 minutes, possibly more than that. If you look at his games this year with at least 25 minutes, I'm sure he's gone over this line in a large majority of the games. Let's take a look at that. So Jalen Tyson final game line of the season with 25 plus minutes. Now some of these games, he was playing really big minutes, but I mean, what, all but 2 games this year with at least 25 minutes, he's gone over 19 fantasy. I'm not expecting him to play like, 35, 34 minutes unless he starts, then maybe he does play that much. But I think 25 to 26 minutes is a good projection. You give me that many minutes from Jalen Tyson, a productive per minute guy, I think he gets 19 fantasy points. So these are our 3 plays for today, guys. 3 plays for a stream slip. I'm going to go ahead and lock this one in. I'm going to do a power play, and let's cash this one out. I think our last 2 stream slips, we've gone 2 for 3. So we're due to get a full sweep. And the last stream slip we gave out literally lost by like half a point. It was so frustrating. Or actually, no, it lost by a stat correction. We took LaMelo's fantasy and lost on a stat correction, and that cost us a full sweep. So hopefully this is the day that we get a full sweep here. But yeah, if you guys want to tail, feel free. KD over 41.5 fantasy, Asia Newell over 15.5 PRA, and Jalen Tyson over 19 fantasy. 3 picks for today. I'm gonna post this. We'll post this in Discord for those that want to tail in Discord. Or if someone is watching, actually if someone's watching the stream that's in the Patreon, in the Discord, can you post that in Discord? I appreciate it. What's up, Noah? You've seen Trae Young was ruled out. I love Zach from the YouTube picks. Yeah, that was a good play for sure. Got even better with Trae out. We took Ricochet over 13.5 PRA, I believe, or 14.5. His line bumped like 4 points. Obviously, Trae being out definitely helped, but kind of the same thing with Newell as it was with Ricochet. Like, Ricochet's a player who hasn't produced well this year, but today's just a totally different scenario without Trae, without Jalen Johnson. There's just so much usage and minutes available too. And I think Ricochet's a guy that benefits. Also, I think Ricochet plays in a blowout too. So I could definitely see a scenario where if this game's a blowout, going into the 4th quarter, you could see Ricochet and Newell just out there chucking up shots because like they're the 2 guys that will soak up usage. Nick Richards to get more minutes today with Mark Williams out. Check his rebounds prop. Let's take a look at those. Let's see here. Nick Richards should get more minutes. He should play the backup center minutes. He's typically been a good rebounder like per minute, and it's a great rebounding matchup. I'm sure. Let's take a look at Nick Richards this year. So let's see. Let's just look at the games he's played without Mark Williams. So he's only played 4 games without Mark Williams. I'm assuming he came off the bench in these games. I could be wrong. Let's see. So last time Mark Williams was out, he only played 7 minutes, which is a little concerning. They started Oso. They played Nigel Hayes-Davis. I would think Richards gets the backup center minutes. So if Oso plays like 32 minutes, Richards probably gets like 16 minutes. But then he played 22 against Houston. He had 11 rebounds. He played 10 against Denver, 4 rebounds, 15, 1 rebound. The only thing that concerns me with Nick Richards is he's not been a consistent part of the rotation. Like last game he played 8 minutes. He's been out of the rotation for like 2 weeks, but then he came back in the rotation last game and played 8 minutes. I think he plays like 15 minutes, but I'm not confident in that. But it is a great rebounding matchup. So 8-6-1, that's a tough one, man. I really don't know. If you told me, if I was told Nick Richards will play 16 minutes tonight, I would say, yeah, I like that over. But I'm not confident in his minutes. Because, I mean, as you saw last time, Mark Williams was out. He only played 7 minutes. Trae and Jalen out for the Hawks. You like Dyson on anything? I mean, Dyson theoretically should benefit without Trae and Jalen. The only thing I worry about is, like, Atlanta could come out here and just get their shit kicked in and lose by 30. And Dyson, obviously, in a blowout, he's not playing. So it's a bad matchup, too. Like, OKC's such a good defensive team. But somebody's going to have to put the ball in the hoop for Atlanta. I'm hoping it's going to be, the bench guys like Asia Newell and Jalen or Zachary Ricochet. And the guys that'll play blowout, those 2 guys, I feel a little bit more confident in. I know I'm getting 4 quarters out of those guys, whereas Dyson could only play 3 quarters if it's a big time blowout. His lines all feel kind of correct for me, even without Trey and Jalen. Given the matchup and the blowout risk, I feel like his lines are kind of correct. I will say if Atlanta keeps this game competitive, which seems unlikely, but if they do, there's a very good chance that Dyson goes over a lot of his props, because if they're keeping the game competitive, he's going to be one of the reasons why him and Nikhil and Onyeka. I'm leaning in more towards it being a blowout and Asia Newell, Zachary Riche, the young guys getting extended minutes. Cat's at 38.5 PR now. I was able to snipe it 34 on Dabble yesterday during the day. Hey, that was a great snipe. That was a great snipe, man. It's a great spot for Cat. I really think Cat has a big game tonight. Wonder how many minutes Giannis is playing tonight. Last game, he played, I think, 25. Yeah, he played 25 in his first game back from injury, so he probably plays like 26 to 28, somewhere in there. I doubt he plays over 30. They're typically, with Giannis, the Bucks are typically going to be very cautious just because of his injury history. Any picks on today's NFL game? Nothing specific, for this stream. Obviously, the plays I gave out on YouTube last night, those are still, I like those, obviously. I think those lines have bumped, though. I haven't really looked too much at the NFL game, though. Typically, I'm just kind of focused on NBA during the day, especially with an 11-game slate. I've been putting a lot of time into NBA. So I really haven't looked too much at the NFL game. Nothing specific that I'm going to give out on stream, at least. Hunter, 11.5 points, or Jalen Tyson, 10.5 points for off-the-bench plays. I like Jalen Tyson points prop at 10.5. Again, he's been playing well lately. The minutes are trending up, and I think there's a chance he could start tonight. What do you think about comparing lines on FanDuel to Prizepicks? That's always a good strategy. Anytime you can get plays, where the sportsbook market is favoring either the over or the under, and you can play those on Prizepicks without having to lay any juice, that's always going to be plus EV. So yeah, that's always a good way to go. And if there's ever a prop that I like, typically I'll check the sportsbook market and see where the odds are. And if I like the over and the odds are favoring the over, then usually that's a play I'm going to take. Okay, we got the Wizards starting lineup. McCollum, Trey Johnson, Jameer Watkins. So Jameer Watkins is starting for the Wizards. I doubt they have any props up on him. Yeah, I didn't think so. He started earlier this season, randomly. I don't think he really did anything, though. Zion free throw attempts. Free throws are always tough, just because, it's a tough stat type to predict and project. But I will say Zion is a guy that obviously drives to the basket a lot, draws a lot of fouls. Also, Zion's minutes are slowly creeping up. If he's driving to the basket, we know Karl Anthony Towns, he fouls a lot. So I don't hate that play on Zion. I just feel like free throw attempts, or free throws and props in general, are a little bit tough. They can be a little bit fluky and a little bit volatile. But Zion historically has been a guy that gets to the free throw line a lot because he drives and draws fouls. After crushing the last time I asked on Embiid PRA, which PRA prop you like tonight if you had to pick one? Oh, you're putting me on the spot, man. You're putting me on the spot. Let's see. I think with the Embiid one last time, I just kind of tried to pick a guy that, was in a good matchup, and the projection was fair. So let's see if I can find another one. I almost want to say Karl Anthony Towns, but his lines have inflated. His PRA last night, I think, was 38.5 or 37.5. So it's tough to take those now that the market has inflated his lines. I like KD PRA, but fantasy scores better at 41.5. Wemby's line bumped 3 points. Yeah, if you tailed the YouTube plays, man, we got some really good value on those YouTube plays from last night. I mean, honestly, yeah, my favorite PRA prop, if it's available to you, is probably the Asia Newell 15.5 PRA. That might not be available on certain books because he's like a bench player. But yeah, I like that. Mike, if you're asking for favorite PRA play today, that would be it probably. Let's go Asia Newell. Okay, we got Suns lineup. Gillespie, Booker, Brooks, O'Neal, Iguodaro. That's as expected. Bucks, Porter Jr., Rollins, Green, Giannis, Turner. So that's as expected. Deuce McBride available to play. Okay. I like Vit revenge narrative as well. Yeah, the only thing that worries me a little bit about Vit is I just don't know if he plays in a blowout. But OKC's a team, like, they pack the paint, they'll give up catch and shoot, they'll give up threes. So that sets up well for Vit, because, like, he's a big three guy. Like, his scoring is going to come from threes, and that's what OKC will give up. Like, I think OKC this year, they are top 10 in three-pointers allowed per game. I don't hate the play on Vit if you're looking at maybe, like, his points prop or something. If you told me he would play blowout, I would feel better about it. I don't know if he plays in a blowout, though. Like, he might get benched. Whereas I'm very confident Newell plays in a blowout, and I'm fairly confident Ricochet plays in a blowout too. How you feel about Desmond Bane under PRA? It's tough because the Magic are fully healthy right now outside of Jalen Suggs being out. Like 30.5 PRA for Bane, that feels like a correct line to me. That feels like a coin flip almost. I mean, you can see the games he goes under, he barely goes under. The games he goes over, he barely goes over. I don't have much of a take on that one, man. That line feels correct to me. I don't see much of an edge there, honestly. Alexander Walker not playing today. He is playing. He's playing. Any prop lines you like in the Bucks game? Not really. At least not with what they're set at right now. LaMelo's minutes have been slowly coming up, but I feel like his lines have kind of adjusted for that now. Again, if I knew Giannis was going to play like 30 minutes, I'd like some of his props, but I think he only plays like 26, 28 minutes. I don't know if he'll be up there in the 30s. So, yeah, I don't see much I like in the Bucks game. I did take Brandon Miller over fantasy. I gave that out on Patreon today, but I gave out that line at 31.5. So at 33.5, I don't really like that as much, and I wouldn't take that now. Norman Powell PRA under or over? I know Norm's gone under a lot of his lines lately, but so Bam Adebayo is expected to be back tonight, but they're still without Tyler Hero. So without Tyler Hero, that opens up usage. It's also a matchup, or it's a game that is expected to be like really high scoring. The Nuggets and Heat game has a 240 something total, 243.5 total. So like there's expected to be a lot of points in this game. I feel like Norm's lines are kind of set where they should be. I know he's been going under a lot lately, but it's a different scenario right now without Tyler Hero. Obviously, Norm's taking on more usage without Hero. Would you take Durant at 38.5 PRA if on a different app? You could, Eric. I don't like that as much as fantasy, though. I think the fantasy line at 41.5 is definitely way better. Like if you look, let's see. This is something you can actually look up on StatMuse. So Kevin Durant, FanDuel game log with 39 plus points plus rebounds. So let's look at every game this year where Kevin Durant has had 39 PRA. If you look at his fantasy points in those games, 54, 52, 48, 48, 46, 45, 45, 42. So he's gone over fantasy in every game with 39 PRA. And I'm sure there's been some games this year where he hasn't had 39 PRA, but he's still gone over his fantasy. So that's why I like fantasy more. I guess you could take the PRA line, but I could definitely see scenarios where he goes under his PRA. but still goes over that 41.5 fantasy. That's up to you, though, Eric. Honestly, that's up to you. Is KD out? I can't find him on any books. He's playing, for all I know. I didn't see anywhere that he was out. Thanks for the plays, Noah. Hope we get this W. Let's get this paper. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. I feel good about today's slate. I really do. I always love the big slates because just, when there's so many games, there's so many plays to look at, spots to dive into. I feel like we typically do well on the big slates. So hopefully tonight's a night we can do well. Okay, Tyler Kolek was questionable. He's available to play. Okay. I would have liked to have seen Tyler Kolek out because we took an over on Miles McBride. That definitely would have been good if Kolek was out, but it's still good either way. Yes, Mike, I do think Newell still plays in a blowout. Let's actually look. So the last time the Hawks were involved in a blowout, let me take a look at this real quick. So let's see here. So the last time the Hawks got blown out was when they faced the Spurs on December 19th. So let's go to that game. You can actually look and see like who was on the court at the time. So it looks like the Spurs subbed out like all their main guys like early fourth quarter. The Hawks subbed out all their starters with about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Zachary Richeche, Mohamed Gueye, Luke Kennard, Asia Newell, and Keaton Wallace were the 5 guys that played in the blowout last time the Hawks got blown out. Now, will those 5 guys play in today's game if it's a blowout? That's to be determined. But from what I remember, almost in every blowout this year, Richeche, Newell have both been on the court. So I'm fairly confident Newell will be out there in a blowout. I think it's like a 85-90% chance he plays in a blowout. Deuce McBride back tonight. You think minutes restriction? I am expecting a minutes restriction for Deuce. I don't know what kind of minutes restriction. He's coming back from an ankle injury, so it's always tough to tell. I'm expecting like mid-20s, so like 24 to 28 minutes. He could play more, maybe. I think there's a chance that he starts because, they don't have Josh Hart right now and they don't have Mitchell Robinson. So if McBride's starting, I feel fairly confident his minutes will be decent. If he's coming off the bench, there's a chance he plays less. But I think there's a chance he starts without Josh Hart and without Mitchell Robinson. He typically would start in these spots. But again, he's been out for injury. So sometimes when guys are out for injury and when they come back, they don't always, get inserted back into the starting lineup. I mean, we saw like Evan Mobley came off the bench after coming back from injury. Wemby came off the bench. Austin Reeves came off the bench the other night, coming back from injury. So we'll see. I know you said NBA only, but Bijan reception targets 5.5 is also free. Rams ranked 20th pass defense recently, allowed 10 targets. CMC ranked 9th in rush defense. I do like that play as well. Is his receptions line still at 4.5? Okay, it bumped up to 5. I mean, if you were going to take that, if you were going to take either 5 receptions or targets, well, his targets got bumped up too. But yeah, both those were good, I think. I feel like if he gets 5 catches, he's probably getting 6 targets. I mean, I guess there's a chance he gets 5 catches on 5 targets, but either one of those were pretty good plays in my opinion. How do you feel about Ryan Rollins' 14.5 points? It's tough on Ryan Rollins. He's been playing really well lately, but now Giannis is back. Also, Kevin Porter Jr. is back. We haven't seen Ryan Rollins play a lot of games with Kevin Porter Jr. and with Giannis. He obviously played last game with both those guys and scored 20 points. But I'm just a little cautious on Ryan Rollins' props. I know he's been crushing lately, but a lot of his games lately that he's done well in have been without Giannis or Kevin Porter Jr. Most of these games were without Giannis. That's why I'm just a little bit skeptical. But he is back in the starting lineup now, which is good. His minutes were way up last game. He was coming off the bench, but now he's starting again. Thanks, Noah. Sure thing, Mike. Sure thing, my man. I feel like he would play in the blowout minutes, hoping he doesn't make the starting lineup, to be honest. Honestly, if he's starting, he can still play in a blowout. Like, or if you're talking about Vic Krejci, yeah, I don't know about Krejci, but like Ricochet, he's a starter, but Ricochet still plays in blowout. So like if they're starting or not, I don't think that really matters on if they're going to play in the blowout or not. It's really the coaches kind of decide who gets to play. Usually it's the younger guys that'll play in blowouts. Yeah, I already answered the Zion free throw tips. You could rewind the stream, I guess, if you wanted to hear my take on that one. It's just a tough prop to project. Like free throws are, even guys like Zion who drive to the basket a lot and draw fouls, it's still tough to project how many free throw attempts a player's going to get in a given game. Julian Champagnie rebounds. Let's take a look at some Julian Champagnie props. So I think Julian Champagnie did start last game because De'Aaron Fox was out, but I think De'Aaron Fox is expected to play. Pretty sure he went through shoot-around and stuff. He played 26 minutes as a starter last game. If I knew that De'Aaron Fox was out, I would really like this play. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to play, though, so Champagnie might go back to only playing like 18, 20 minutes. Whereas last game, he got 26 minutes with Fox out. Also, Cleveland, I feel like Cleveland's not a great matchup for rebounds either. So I don't really like that play personally, but if it's one you like, man, feel free to take it. But it's one I'm a little skeptical on. Later, man, good luck, everyone. I got my picks in. Hey, good luck, Michael. Good luck, my man. Thanks for tuning into the stream. I took Colin Sexton for over 12 points. Hey, good luck, JP. Good luck on that one. I know Sexton's, I will say, without Con Knuppel, he's out for the Hornets right now. That should benefit Sexton. Like, you would think Sexton's going to get more minutes without Con. Cooper Flag, 22.5 points over or under. That's a tough one. Anthony Davis is questionable for tonight. And I think I saw that Anthony Davis participated in shoot-around. Now, I don't know if that really matters much, but I don't have much. That's like 22.5 feels like a correct line for Flag. I would say if AD's out, that's probably better for Flag, but honestly, I want to say Flag's been pretty good playing alongside Anthony Davis this year, so maybe not. I don't have much of a take on that one. Again, with AD questionable, if AD winds up playing, they might bump the line down on Flag. If AD gets ruled out, they might bump the line up, so I guess you could take a gamble if you think AD plays or not. Have one more question, Noah. Since you said you have good knowledge with fantasy score, what are some tips for taking an under on a fantasy score? I love unders. I mean, it really all depends on the projection. A lot of times, like, you can compare their PRA lines and their fantasy scores. It all depends on the player, though. Like, players that get a lot of steals and blocks, they're going to have higher fantasy. Like, their fantasy line might be 7, 8 points higher than their PRA. Players that don't get a lot of steals and blocks and maybe have turnovers, their PRA might only be a couple point difference. But you can, like, kind of compare the fantasy to the PRA. That's an easy way to kind of see some big differences. Maybe if there's a PRA line that's way higher, or, like, let's say a PRA is at 20.5, but then fantasy's at, like, 30.5, that could be a spot where an under looks good, but it all depends on the player. A guy like Wemby, I mean, if you look at Wemby's fantasy versus PRA, it's what? His fantasy's at 49, his PRA's at 36. Like, that's a 12.5 point difference. But Wemby gets a ton of steals and blocks. So it makes sense for him to have such a big fantasy score difference from PRA. But honestly, if there's players you like under PRA, typically those will probably be okay to take under fantasy too. Fantasy score is all about, like, it's all about minutes. How many minutes is a player going to get? Every player averages a certain amount of fantasy points per minute. Obviously, guys like Wemby, Jokic, those are some of the best fantasy point per minute players because they just do so much when they're on the court. They get points, they get rebounds, they get assists, they get steals and blocks. So, really, it's like, maybe, like Miles McBride, for example, he's coming back from injury. if we get word that Miles McBride's going to be limited to 15 minutes, under 18.5 fantasy would be a good bet. I'm hoping that doesn't happen because, I took an over on McBride. If we get word that Miles McBride is not on a minutes limit and he's starting, then over 18.5 would be great because, he's projected to play more. Obviously, more minutes typically means more fantasy points. So a lot of it comes down to just minutes for these guys for fantasy. When teams get blown out and players play less minutes, more times than not, they're going to go under a lot of their projections because they're playing less minutes, AD is risky due to being injury prone. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Typically, when AD's questionable, I typically lean that he doesn't play because, with his injury history, the Mavs typically are very cautious with him. They won't bring him back until he's, fully healthy. And I think it was reported after he got injured that he would be out for, a couple of games. So, all right, I'm going to answer these last few questions, then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here, guys. Someone asked about Jokic 11 assists. It's always tough with Jokic assists. I mean, he's one of the best passers in the league, has one of the highest assist rates, gets a ton of assist opportunities. Theoretically, this should be a good matchup for him to get assists because Miami plays at a really fast pace. So when there's more pace, there's going to be more possessions, which is going to mean more assist opportunities. 11 assists, though, that feels like the correct line for Jokic. I know he's gone over all of his last 4 games, but he's typically a guy that, he's going to project for 10.5, 11 assists most games, and it's kind of it's a coin flip whether he goes over or under that. But if I had to lean a side there, I would lean on the over if I had to pick a side. You think Kyle Pitts goes over fantasy? He's been crushing lately. I will say Drake London's back, but I think Drake London came back last game and Pitts still crushed against Arizona. He still had 18.7 fantasy. He's been getting a lot of targets in the red zone and stuff, and I want to say he scored a touchdown in 3 straight games. Which Pitts has always been his touchdowns in his career have always been low. He's not been a big touchdown guy, but he's been finding the end zone lately. I don't hate it. He projects for 50 yards and 5 catches. That's 10 fantasy points right there. Maybe if he gets into the end zone, he could go over. I don't hate that play. MLB season can't wait. Won so many units with you last MLB season. Yeah, I'll be honest, MLB season's not my favorite. I love NBA the most, and I really like NFL. MLB season for me, I don't really love. It's just MLB is such a long sport. It starts in April and ends in fucking October. But yeah, we'll be going on some MLB come April and May during the summer. We'll have MLB content up. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream here, guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in, man. Big slate tonight. Hopefully we can all win some money. Monday Night Football as well. If you got Monday Night Football plays, hopefully you cash out on those, win some money on the Monday Night Football game. Should be live tomorrow, pretty sure. Let's see what the schedule looks like. So there's only 4 games tomorrow. First game starts at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So if I do go live tomorrow, it'll probably be a later stream. Maybe we'll do a really late stream, 7:30 to 8. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I do want to try and go live tomorrow. So be on the lookout for a stream tomorrow. Obviously, I'll have videos up later tonight for the games tomorrow. Be on the lookout for those. And yeah, guys, good luck. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.